You see all this incredible wealth out there, right? The massive mansions, the private jets, these huge business deals. But have you ever stopped to wonder who's really pulling the strings? Today, we're diving into that gap, the illusion between the public face of wealth and who secretly owns it all. So, let's just cut right to the chase with the biggest question of all. Is the person you see in the spotlight actually the one who owns the assets? Well, as we're about to find out, the answer is very often a big resounding no.
And this really breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you've got the public face, that celebrity, politician, or CEO we all recognize. But on the other side, working from the shadows, you have the hidden owner. That's the real power, and they're often buried under layers of complex legal structures.
So, how do they pull this off? Well, it's not random. There's a well-known playbook, a whole set of tools that get used over and over again to hide who owns what, right out in the open. Let's break down some of the key moves in this game. Okay, first up, the shell company. Think of it like a corporate ghost. It's a real company on paper, but that's it. No office, no employees, no actual business. Its only job is to be a container, a layer of anonymity to hide where money is really coming from and where it's going. Next in the playbook, we have the straw donor. This is a huge one in politics. Here's how it works. A rich person or a company gives a bunch of money to other people, the straw donors, who then donate that cash to a campaign under their own names. It makes it look like there's all this grassroots support when it's really a way to illegally get around campaign contribution limits.
And finally, there's the nominee director. This is basically a director for hire. Their name is on all the official paperwork, but they have zero real power. They're just a signature, a puppet on a string being pulled by the secret owner, adding yet another layer of secrecy to the whole operation.
All right, so now that we know the tools, let's see how they're actually used in the real world. Because this stuff isn't just theory. It's happening every single day across politics, business, you name it. And this is a textbook case. A recent federal indictment accused U.S. Congresswoman Sheila Sherfilis McCormick of using her family's company to hang on to a $5 million overpayment from FEMA disaster funds. That money was then allegedly laundered and funneled into her campaign using those straw donors we were just talking about. And at the same time, it was supposedly used to fund a pretty lavish lifestyle. We're talking a $109,000 diamond ring. And look, this is a global problem. In the Philippines, their SEC used this incredibly powerful phrase, the stench of systemic corruption, to describe how secret companies are used to fund ghost projects. Things like roads and flood control systems that don't even exist, all while billions in public money just vanishes. And if you're wondering just how common this is, get this. A World Bank analysis found that a staggering 70% of major corruption cases rely on these secret companies to hide who's really behind it all. 70%.
This data just shows how concentrated ownership can get. Over in the UK, public records show that in 56% of companies, just one person or a tiny group has almost total control. So power isn't just hidden, it's incredibly consolidated.
But then it gets even more extreme. That same UK registry found one single person listed as the beneficial owner of almost 1,300 different companies. A pattern like that is a huge red flag for a professional nominee, someone creating this massive tangled web of companies all controlled from the shadows.
Okay, so it all sounds a bit bleak, right? But the story doesn't end there. There's a huge pushback happening. From artists using their influence in new ways to governments passing major new laws. People are fighting to drag these hidden owners into the light.
So while governments are trying to tackle this from the top down, something really interesting is happening in the entertainment world. Instead of just taking a paycheck to be the face of a brand, smart artists are refusing to be used as fronts. They're demanding equity, a real piece of the company they're helping to build.
I mean, the perfect example is Ryan Reynolds. Instead of just taking a flat fee to promote Mint Mobile, he took a big ownership stake. So when T-Mobile bought the company, his slice of the pie was worth an estimated $300 million. Now that's the power of ownership.
And it's not a one-off. There's the legendary story of artist David Cho. Way back when, he painted a mural for this little startup called Facebook. They offered him a choice, 60 grand in cash or a tiny sliver of stock. He took the stock. That stock later became worth around $200 million. He chose ownership over a paycheck, and boy, did it work out. So alongside these big moves from artists, governments are now finally stepping in with a top-down attack. There's a wave of new laws designed to rip away that corporate anonymity once and for all. The big one here in the US is the Corporate Transparency Act. This new law basically forces most companies, and this includes those loan-out corporations that entertainers often use, to report who their true beneficial owners are to the government. And they are not messing around with the penalties. We're talking steep daily fines and even jail time. And this isn't just an American thing. It's part of a coordinated global movement. The UK's public register already has data on over 5 million beneficial owners, and Canada just launched its own federal registry in 2024. The world is definitely shifting towards transparency. Which leaves us with one last, really important question. This new era of transparency is kind of like flipping the lights on in a dark room. But for all those people who have done so well in the darkness for so long, will they just find new shadows to hide in? The game of cat and mouse is far from over.